Okay, good morning, Budi. Good to talk to you in Indonesia, in Lombok. So I just would like to introduce, our background. We both used to work for Shangri-La back in the day when we were in Surabaya, in Indonesia. And now you're a general manager of a Pullman hotel in Lombok. And Budi has kindly agreed to chat with me about sustainable hotels in Indonesia, which I thought would be a great conversation to continue the series about sustainability in hotels. So, welcome, Budi. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your career and how you got to where you are now?
Mhm. Good morning, Pak Richard. Thank you for connecting today through this podcast. Thank you very much for the time. Yes, my name is Budi WAHJONO, which is I'm now as a general manager of Pullman Hotel in Lombok, Indonesia. Yeah, we know each other since few years ago, which is, if not mistaken, since 1994 when we opened the Shangri-La Hotel in Surabaya, Indonesia. Now I
Right.
think it's 30 years ago. Right. Yeah, I'm currently working for Pullman Lombok in Indonesia. Yeah, I start my career in hospitality industry in 1990 on that time until now is about 34 years.
Right.
Yeah, in Indonesia, in Middle East, comprising like Doha, Qatar, Kuwait, and Egypt in Cairo, and back to Indonesia.
Yeah, it's an amazing story because
Right.
it's not that common for Indonesians to kind of emigrate in our industry and go and work overseas. So I
Right.
think you've had a very interesting career,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure I know from our days together, you used to like mentoring people and helping to develop people yourself, which I'm sure you've been doing a lot. And I'm just curious, what was it that sort of drew you to Pullman brand, and what is it that you enjoy about working with Accor as an organization?
Yeah, well, actually, Accor is one of the best, place to work for the hotel industry. As I know, I work for some brand in different international and local brand in Indonesia and international. However, until now I still working with Accor because I feel that Accor is the best place to work in hospitality industry. And now
Okay.
also Accor is also concerned about the sustainable program. That's I just finished my master degree last year and focusing also in sustainability program, especially in tourism industry. And
Right.
now I'm continuing also in a doctoral degree. I'm just starting last year. This is become my special interest, to discuss
Right.
about sustainability
That's
in hotel industry.
That's great. I mean, I think that's wonderful that you're continuing your education, even
Mm-hmm,
as we get into our sort of more senior years. It's important to
mm-hmm,
continue. I also did a master's degree, which I started when I was about 55, 56,
mm,
and I think it does put a lot of framework around what we do because
mm-hmm,
as practitioners we actually have a lot of knowledge, but I think doing a degree or doing a postgraduate education
mm-hmm,
at our age, I think it does put a very good framework around all our knowledge. So
mm-hmm.
as sustainability is your speciality area, I would wonder if you could tell the viewers and the people who are interested in sustainability, which is our core demographic, which is what are the current sustainability trends in the Indonesian hotel industry, would you say?
Well, nowadays, most of the hotel industry in Indonesia is, if you talk about the trend, is now adopting eco-friendly accommodation, and property implementing the water-saving technologies and water management. And nowadays, almost all hotel is implementing, it's like no single-use plastic anymore. This is the trend that I can see in hotel industry in Indonesia.
Okay. And are there any regulations that hotels have to comply with regarding sustainable practices in Indonesia in hotels?
Well, yes, like what in Pullman did is there is a regulation that we have to comply with certain of certification. It's like we have a certification from the Green Globe. It's like this is I have the Green Globe certification that we
Okay.
have just certified with Green Globe, and then we comply with saving and sustainability like from eco burner. By using the eco burner, for example, like the whole year we are saving it's like 170,000 liters of water and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does the government, so those are more Pullman requirements, but
Uh-huh.
does the Indonesian government itself have any minimum standards or any regulations that you have to comply with? Because I mean, in Indonesia, it's obviously you have many different
Hmm.
environments, and then there's some kind of more coastal areas and islands, and so I just
Hmm.
wondered whether there was any regulations regarding what you can and cannot do.
Well, yes, especially we are locating in just in coastal in fishing to the ocean. We are in beachfront resort. There is a certain regulation that some we can do and some that we have to
Okay,
avoid it. Yeah,
right.
there is a
Okay,
regulation for that.
okay. So when you're running a hotel as a GM,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you have to comply with some of these Pullman regulations or Accor regulations
Hmm.
regarding,
Hmm.
um, using um, you know, environmentally friendly items. How do you
Hmm.
balance the sort of quality and luxury that your guests expect with these sustainability uh, sort of standards, which are the POS standards from the group? I mean, do you ever get any kickback from guests who sort of say that you should do this or you should do that? Is there, or do you find that it's actually quite straightforward? Is there any issue with balancing luxury and sustainability?
Yes, theoretically, like in luxury, we have to adopt the new standard. For example, like before, we are using the individual, amenity, and nowadays we are not using anymore because we are using dispenser like soap dispenser, conditioner, shampoo, and so on. However, the guests really understand about the trend right now because we are concerning to the sustainability. There is no single-use plastic anymore. But the challenge for some hotel is, it's like the cost implication, like when we implementing in luxury hotels, sometimes the people are thinking that implementing the sustainability practice often required, it's like significant upfront investment.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
it's like something like that. But
right.
from the consumer perception is the demand is exclusivity, it's like incorporating with sustainability material make initially seems like compromising the perceive of luxury quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been able to? I don't mean necessarily in your current hotel, but any
Uh-huh.
of the hotels you've been managing. Do you have any kind of examples of any case studies of successful innovation that you introduced, or ideas that you or your team introduced to the hotel?
Well, in practically, since this year, we have the new initiative about how to manage the food waste. We just giving the explain to our guests if we approach the guests and doing the conversation, we explain to the guests to make them interest to our program. Um, um, in our hotels, 60% of our food waste is become, like liquid fertilize. We make in our own.
Okay,
So we put it in different container. Like we prepare 7 container every day. We put the waste in different container, Sunday to Monday and so on. So 1 month approximately we can get the liquid fertilize about 600 liters, which is we
wow,
can we can use for to cover all the plants inside the hotel,
okay,
the
well, that's great.
resort. Yeah.
Yeah,
And some guests is really, it's like to hear that, we are not waste the food and to reduce the landfill as well.
okay. So if you were, thinking about what are some areas in your hotel where you can do conservation of water or electricity or things like that, is there anything that you've done where you've been able to measure and track the progress, and any big changes that you were able to make in any of your properties?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for example, like I mentioned earlier, that by using the some product in our kitchen,
Yeah,
we can save it's like um 117 liters of water, and
right,
we also prevent 604 kilogram of waste going to landfills and reduce the carbon emission by 2.5 tons a
right.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of hotels give amenities, which we
Mm-hmm.
put in the room, and we think that guests will appreciate them, and but they do create a lot of weight. I mean, even something like slippers,
Mm-hmm.
often the guests may just wear it one time and then we throw
Mm-hmm.
it away. I mean, do you have anything like that where you have removed those things and the guest actually does not complain about it? Is there any examples you can give us, or with regard to the amenity bottles for shampoo and conditioner, body lotion, that type of thing? Is there anything that you've done? What are some of the Pullman practices to try to reduce waste in that area?
Well, yeah, like what I mentioned earlier, we are not using the single-use tube for every, like amenity. We don't
Yeah.
have this kind of amenity anymore in our bedrooms. But we are using the nice dispenser, and the brand is should comply with the brand standard of Pullman
Okay.
and so on. And the quality of shampoo, conditioner, and liquid soap is also according the
Okay.
brand standard is good. So there is no issue to our guests, and they are quite happy with the
Good.
changes. Yeah.
One thing that I recall from my time with
Mm-hmm.
as a GM in many Shangri-La hotels in
Mm-hmm.
China,
Mm-hmm.
Singapore, Bangkok, was a lot of Asian hotels have a lot of F&B outlets and multiple
Mm-hmm.
outlets.
Right.
And obviously, we also have quite a large number of employees, perhaps
Mm-hmm.
more per guest than they do in Europe or in the States
Mm-hmm.
because of labor costs. So quite often, all these different outlets. You might have 5 or 6 outlets in a hotel, and sometimes F&B has as many as two,
Mm-hmm.
300 employees. All of
Mm-hmm.
these people have different uniforms, which are different themes for the different
Mm-hmm.
type, whether it's Chinese, Indonesian, coffee shop, Italian,
Mm-hmm.
and every time you
Japanese.
get staff in, they
Mm.
need a new uniform, and we have a lot of inventory wasted in this area. Do you have any opinions about or examples of how you're able to look at materials and products like uniform and linen? Is there anything Pullman is doing to try to reduce waste in the area of textiles and fabrics and linen?
Yeah. Um, frankly speaking, I'm on searching on that point. I love to see the new idea about the sustainable program. Like normally we are using the saving the energy, water, waste, and so on. And now I'm going to try to get the new idea about the textiles,
Yeah,
linen, and all. For time being, we just make it the condemned linen, for example, like the out of order bed sheet. We make become the vacuum bag, which is, as you know, the vacuum bag is quite expensive. You
yeah,
know, if our fabric, the linen fabric is quite good quality, it can be good to be vacuum bag. And
right,
in the future, I'm quite interesting to have, it's like a sustainable material fabric for our uniform, for our linens, in order to support and comply with the sustainable programs.
right. Yeah, well, I think that when I was working with Hotel Icon in Hong
Mm-hmm.
Kong, I mentioned to you previously that we did used to experiment with a lot of new sustainable fabrics, and we did make some bespoke, handmade uniforms from recycled materials, and
Mm-hmm.
also from um, user friendly fabrics, things like using bamboo and plastic
Mm-hmm.
and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we found that actually these were very durable and very
Mm-hmm.
cost effective. And I was able to share with you about the Cresswell attire solution, which is using AI to do the
Uh-huh.
design of the uniform as well as using sustainable materials. Is that something, I know that you're doing this master's degree and you want to do a doctorate in sustainability. Is that something that you would like to explore more? Because I think that, if you think about the sheer number of uniforms and thousands of dollars worth of inventory sitting in storerooms where if with Cresswell they agreed to take it back, the old uniform, and recycle them as well. And I think if we always used to pay a lot of money for designers to design these uniforms, and if AI can do that and you're using sustainable fabric, have any opportunity to think about what is your opinion about that?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, we can reuse the inventory what we have, like use uniform, linen, and so on. If there is this is quite interesting to me actually, to make, just cross in my mind, to make, the international journal about these matters, about this subject.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Cresswell would actually be quite
Mm-hmm.
interested in collaborating. If
Mm-hmm.
you felt that you would like to test out, say,
Mm-hmm.
a uniform in your property, using sustainable materials or having it
Mm-hmm.
designed according to the brand, because basically they can key in the brand DNA of your brand, and
Mm-hmm.
then through that it could come up with a different theme or different,
Mm-hmm.
and then test out and give them the feedback about how you feel about the uniform, uh,
Mm-hmm.
compare with the existing? Because I think that sustainability in this area is something that, sourcing sustainable fabrics and textiles
Mm-hmm.
can actually, even something like bed sheets, if you're
Mm-hmm.
using, and the quality, if the quality feels like cotton, and it lasts longer and it's using sustainable materials, I think there's a lot of benefit. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on that? Would that be something you might be interested in exploring?
Yeah, to me, the most important is first of all, this is comply with the sustainability programs for
Right,
sure. And then the second thing, it should be comfortable to our staff for the uniform. And the third should be comfortable by our guests because
right.
it's linen is is direct touching our skin during
Yes.
the sleeping experience,
Mm.
during the bath experience and so on. If this is they can answer what is kind of three things. I think yes, for sure this is a quite interesting program that we interest to. There is no reason that we are not interested in this kind of programs, you know.
So do you think if a staff member was
Uh-huh.
wearing something that looked really good, it felt really good, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
sustainable material, do you think that that would make them feel that they are helping the environment in some way, that they are kind of buying into the idea of sustainable, the fact that they are wearing something that is, it feels beautiful, it looks beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also
Mm-hmm.
sustainably
Mm-hmm.
um, designed and manufactured. Do you think that that would resonate with your staff in Indonesia? Would they feel proud of that?
I think definitely yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that there's a lot of waste
Yeah.
in terms of you know emerging technology can definitely help um, in hotels. I mean, technology in terms of AI or manufacturing or in terms
Mm-hmm.
of energy reduction. Is there anything that you are looking in your capex to include in the next year or two, new technology that can help um, in your sustainable program?
Well, beside what I have explained earlier that we are now I'm just thinking with our teams, in our resort there is so many frangipani plants, and every day is blooming and become so many flowers of frangipanis. So our team is thinking how we can make the oil for our spa. you know
Mm,
First, the purpose is how to make a oil. The second thing, this is to reduce waste again, to reduce the landfill.
yeah.
So every morning our gardener just collecting the flower and then we try to dry it. If you're asking about the capex for next year, I will look for, it's like oil extraction for this
Okay.
flowers, you know.
Great. Well, that's a great
Hmm.
initiative. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very good project. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that would be something that would definitely, because these oils are quite expensive too to buy,
Uh-huh.
and
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're using something like that and you're able to test it, that's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything that, if you were advising like a young up and coming hotelier now, or any hoteliers in Indonesia, they're looking to improve their sustainability process, what are some of the kind of low hanging fruit where they can get most bang for their buck? What would be, say, the three things that you think they could focus on?
The first, I think, awareness. The new generation in this industry should aware about the sustainability programs. The second things, the company should provide, like education training in order to make all the employee understand why we have to take this kind of action. The last thing, the third things is we have to give examples to them why we do the sustainability program, because this is for the future.
Right.
Yeah, for the good thing for the futures, like
Okay.
we are not adopting only for local but for global. In
Yeah.
our training also is mentioning about we have to be aware about SDGs, about sustainable development goal, which is this is from United Nation, comprising 17 practice we have to adopt in one of or some of this practice. This is will so that we are aware about the global programs.
Okay. Great. So, in your PhD thesis,
Mhm.
what are you planning to focus and zone in on? What area
Yeah,
of the are you looking to explore?
yeah. Well, thank you very much. I'm proposing to our professor that, in Lombok, our hotel is located in priority destination. In Indonesia, there are only five priority destination, including in Mandalika, Lombok. And my subject is because this is the priority destination, I will focusing to build example a program locus in Hotel Pullman about sustainability program, what kind of practice and all should be compliance from the local or global requirements.
Okay.
The limitation of this thesis is, the future maybe people can analyze about what is the impact of this kind of sustainability program to the biggest event, which is MotoGP in Mandalika, something like that.
Right. Okay. That's very interesting.
Mm.
And how long is that PhD going to take?
And Indonesia is 3 years,
Okay. Great.
1 years in class, and 2 years is writing, right?
Okay.
Writing international journal, and yeah.
Well, if you would be interested to collaborate with Cresswell on this project, I'm sure
Mhm,
they'd be happy to provide you with, some information about how they manufacture the textiles and how they produce the uniforms for hotels.
mhm,
Because
mhm.
at the moment they are only looking at hotels and schools because they know that there's
Yeah.
a need there. I'm sure they would be very happy to show you their factory or how it's manufactured and all the different opportunities to use different types of
Mhm,
sustainable materials, maybe which are available in Indonesia exclusively as well.
mhm, mhm.
So that would
Yeah,
be very, yeah,
yeah.
good. So what are the sort of goals you have? I mean, if you're doing a PhD, are you thinking about eventually moving into education yourself, or is there
Yes,
is there a term plan?
yes, indeed. A few years back, 2000, year 2000 until 2005, when I was in Surabaya, I'm lecturing also in Petra University in Surabaya. So I have experience in lecturing for 5 years. I'm
Right.
just thinking, like you mentioned that, after, I'm retired from this hotelier business. It's true. I would like to share my knowledge, my experience to education.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very noble
Mhm,
cause, and I think the fact that you have so much experience, and I think that also, I mean, operations is one thing, right, and financial management, revenue management, marketing, but
mhm,
sustainability is an area where there's a lot of organizations that say that they do things, but when you look at it, it may be what we call greenwashing. You know, I mean, how much of that sometimes I wonder is just glossing over. And I think if you've got on experience like you have in introducing sustainability programs and innovative
Mm-hmm.
ideas, I think that's very valuable, and that you can share that with other people in the industry. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge. I know that there's a few people that I've spoken to in who are actually ex housekeeping people
Mm-hmm.
who have set up their own company, who share their knowledge about how to be sustainably
Mm-hmm.
responsible, you know, in
Mm-hmm.
housekeeping areas, and they share this knowledge in workshops and things like that in the UK. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a lot of opportunities there. So I think it's something that you can definitely explore in your part of the world. Yeah.
Sure.
What what do you think are the opportunities for leveraging like a PR story around sustainability? Do you think there are customers who look for hotels that have strong sustainable practices?
Yes, yes. Definitely, yes. To me, now customer also focusing to find the hotel which is comply with the sustainability programs, you know. So that's why they are try to aware because on the global news they are also knowing that this is the climate change and all. So most of the guests now is aware and choosing the place or hotel which is supporting of sustainability program, you
Yeah.
know.
So I mean, if the guest knew that all
Mm-hmm,
your staff were wearing uniforms or fabrics
mm-hmm,
that were made from
mm-hmm,
sustainable material,
mm-hmm,
plastic bottles or bamboo or banana leaves or whatever, then
mm-hmm,
and it looked luxurious, but and it
mm-hmm,
cost kind of the price. I mean, I think there's definitely a PR story there, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. This is will become, it's like telling story. It's not only in the room, it's not only in the kitchen, it's not only in the restaurant, but it's in our in Accor in Pullman, we call it our artist. It's
Right.
our employee. Yeah.
So I mean, it could be. I mean, maybe I can talk to the Crestwell owners,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, there's definitely if they wanted to give you, say, a set of chef's uniforms, chef's trousers,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, to test out
Mm-hmm.
and experiment for a few months and see how
Mm-hmm.
the staff like to wear it. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
could be a good project, or housekeeping uniform,
Indeed.
um, and then we could test out the how durable is it. You can wash it hundreds of times, get the feedback from the staff. It might be an interesting project, which maybe you could use for your PhD study as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
Definitely.
this is correct. One the subject our thesis in our PhD program is quite wide range. If we would like to make one of our exam is like to make it a journal, international journal, which is should be published, and we can take one of the variable of this subject become the international journal, for example, like sustainability fabric for hotels, something like
Yeah.
that. This is
Yes.
will support our thesis as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. And I mean,
Mm-hmm,
if you think about it, I mean,
mm-hmm,
there is a lot of applications for that, because not
mm-hmm,
only we have hotels, we have airlines, we have cruise
mm-hmm,
ships.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
cruise ship industry and
yeah,
is huge. I mean, if you think about cruise ships, they have
mm-hmm,
thousands of staff, and
yeah,
often those staff are, you know, guest facing, and they have a high turnover, so they're always looking for new uniforms. So it can actually
uniform.
significant saving on the bottom line
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
Sure.
So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
correct.
so I think it would be an interesting idea to explore
Mm-hmm.
that, and then you could, because you're actually running a property now, you could actually do real time research on it, and
Yeah.
set up all the the specific uh,
Mm-hmm.
KPIs that you need to measure it, and the metrics
Yeah.
to measure the effect. It will be a good experiment, which
Yeah.
actually, if then Pullman or Accor enjoy that results, they may
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, well, let's roll this out through some of our
Yeah.
other. So I think that's a very good idea. Okay, great. Well, I think that the key takeaways from this discussion for me is that you seem to be a very you're a very innovative general manager. As your personality is, you're always wanting to educate yourself, to learn more, to focus on specific context of sustainability, um, in adapting to the new changes in our industry, which I think is very admirable. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you're a great example, because I always used to think that about you, that you would be somebody that would always go places. I remember when I first interviewed you in Bali, you know,
Yeah. Really.
you
Yeah.
know,
It's true.
I mean, I know it's 30 years ago, but even then, I think that some people, you just know that
Mm-hmm.
they will have a bright future because they have a kind of
True.
innovative mind that is
Mm.
very curious mind, and willing to learn and always
Ellen.
improve.
Yeah.
Always struck me about you. Yeah, good.
And yeah, and Mr. Richard, on that time, my background is exactly the same, which is in the textile. I mean, from 1990 until in Shangri-La, I'm focusing on uniform and linen, right? So
Right.
I'm dealing with Itang Yunas, the famous designer,
Yes.
which is we have some experience during the pre-opening. Uniform is ready and so on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember too. And I think that I learned a lot from that because,
Hmm.
I was the resident manager there, and we
Yeah.
saw three different GM come and go,
Mm-hmm.
Benson Bois, Michael
Pension Poa,
Cotton, and Michael
Cotton.
Cotton, and then Reichenbach. All these
Mm-hmm.
guys came and went, but, we were there all the time. And I think that, when I look back now, you're right. We had to bring in designers to do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work, and then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the designer will say, "Oh, you have to buy the fabric from here, from this factory,"
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of tied in sometimes,
Yeah.
and
Correct.
I think with this new approach, the AI
Correct.
is actually acting as a tool to help you to
Mm-hmm.
design, and you can play around with it and experiment with it, and then create something
Mm-hmm.
that is your own,
Mm-hmm.
which again is, as I say, is using materials that are very friendly, user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
That if they are able to take back all your old stock
Mm-hmm.
and recycle it or downcycle
Mm-hmm.
it to use it for
Mm-hmm.
other things, is
Mm-hmm.
also very
Yeah.
valuable. So I
Yeah.
think it's a win-win
New
situation.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Well,
true.
anyway, is there any other comment you would like to make before we wrap this up? But I think it would be very interesting because, Budi, if you decide to go ahead with this and experiment, we can have some follow-up discussion about how
Mm-hmm.
it went, what were the results,
Sure.
what were your findings, and I think it would be very interesting to use this as a case study.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's true.
Okay, great. All right. Well, let's keep in touch. And
Sure.
thank you very, very much. I think we've done very well with the timing. It's exactly 40 minutes. So what we'll
Yep.
do now, Woody, is we'll end
Mm-hmm.
the conversation,
All
and
right.
then don't turn off your screen yet. We will
Mm-hmm.
end it, then we will upload the or download the content.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you
All
very
right.
much indeed.
Thank you
Thanks
very
a lot.
much, Mr.
Thank you.
Richard. Yeah. Thank you very much.